Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Well, hello. How are you today? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. I hope you guys in a good conditions. So, in this video, I will explain or present a journal article entitled Features of Spoken English Grammar Mostly Used in Classroom Discussions in English Language Education's Program, or an educational issue in teaching grammar for EFL students. And the author is Romi Febrianto from the English Department, Institut Agama Islam Negeri Batu Sangkar. And I am Muhammad Nur Fadilah from Kuningan University as the presenter. So, without any further ado, let's get started. The content that I will explain from this article consists of introductions, the purpose of the study, methodology, findings, discussions, and the last is conclusions and suggestions. Well, introductions. When discussing grammar in communications, it is essential to distinguish between the spoken and written grammar. For this point, focus on spoken and written grammar differ significantly. So, we need to differ between spoken and written grammar in this article. Spoken grammar has unique characteristics that make it more interactive and spontaneous. Compared to the written grammar, it is more complex. There is there is preparations for making the written versions, and it is more structured. And then, for instance, spoken grammar often to a lot of different features like ellipses, where speakers omit subjects or verbs because the meaning is clear from the context. It is, for example, when we're saying like, do you want coffee? Instead of do you want coffee, we might say like, want coffee? Like that. There is un- unstructured grammar because we can understand the context like that. And the third is importance from these things is mastering spoken grammar features effectively communication in dynamic context. Spoken grammar is additive, interactive, and vague and untidy. We can have a lot of different features that make an effective communication in dynamic context. Other features include deixis, which refers to words that indicate time or place like now, then, here. These features allow speakers to adapt to the real-time interactions in the context of teaching English as a foreign language, EFL. To understand and using spoken grammar is crucial, especially during the classroom discussions, as it helps students communicate effectively in real-life situations. So, spoken grammar, it is really effective when we are in during the classroom discussions. Well, that's the introduction from this article. And the next one is the purpose of the study. There is a 2 point that I highlight from this article. The first one is analyze the features of spoken grammar used in classroom discussions. So, the primary aim of this study is to identify the key features of spoken English grammar that are most commonly used by the students in EFL classroom when they're having a discussion, of course. And by understanding these features, we can get to improve the effectiveness and interactive in the classroom, of course. And the second is help students become more interactive and communicative in English. Of course, the production skill, it is when we are having a good speaking skills, of course. This spoken grammar especially in the classroom discussion, is really important. It's become the aim of this study. This is the particularly relevant in supporting students to speak more naturally and confidently. Or additionally, the study seeks to address gaps in communicative competence and support goals of the communicative language teaching or CLT approach. That's the meaning of this study. And the next slide is research methods. This research used descriptive qualitative method to analyze how students utilize spoken grammar in classroom discussions. Descriptive qualitative research. And the next is data. There is a 5 recordings of classrooms discussions from applied linguistic class at UNP in University in Indonesia, of course. And the instruments that the author used, it is observation sheet, and video recorder. That in here that I highlight the source of the data from the UNP. So the data was collected from graduate students in the English education program at Padang State University or UNP, particularly during applied linguistic classes. The main tools used were video recordings and observation sheets. This allowed for detailed analysis of students' speech in 5 different classrooms. Or in the sessions across the class, there is a class B, A, C. I mean A, B, C. There is a 3 different class A, B, and C. And to ensure the data validity, there is the author applied by comparing the observations and the recorded transcript. This method ensured that the study is accurate, capture the feature of spoken grammar in the real classroom settings. So to validate the data, the author used 3 angulations. If I didn't wrong to spell is triangulations, it means that the author applied by comparing observation from the different class, the A, B, and C. So basically, the method that the author used is descriptive qualitative method to analyze how students spoken grammar. And the next slide, we're talking about findings. After we talk about the method, finally we arrive at the findings from the article. So the findings in here. The findings reveal that the most commonly used features of spoken grammar in classroom discussions are modal expressions and vagal language. You can see in here, you guys can see here, there's a modal expressions and the percentage in here. The modal expression, for example, that most the students use maybe, can, should, it's by 28.57%. They use maybe, can, and should. Vagal language, about, and like, the percentage is 26.37%. So, modal expression accounted for 28.57% of the data and include words like can, should, and maybe. This expression helps the students communicate politely or show uncertainty. They're kind of hesitant to talk, so they'll use maybe or should a lot. And a student might say, I think this might be the answer. Like, I think this might be the answer, which soften or the generation today's called soft spoken. The statement and invites more feedback to the opponents. And the second is vague language. From the data includes terms like about, like. These words are often used to make the statement less precise but still meaningful. For such, it's kind of important, the example. And then this allows for flexibility when students are unsure of the exact terminology. That's the findings. And we got another findings in here from the table in here. So the other features identified is include of deixis, hidden style, spoken clause structure, ellipses, and furthermore. But the things that I highlight from here, it is the first one is the deixis. It's about 18%, 18.68%. It's the most used by the students, the third most. So, which includes words like now, then, here. These words help situate conversation in time and space. For example, now let's discuss the topic. Now. And the second is spoken clause structure by 16%, 16.26%, which involves using conjunctions in here. For example, like and or so to link ideas naturally for the students. And the example is, I think it is important, or maybe like, we should discuss it further. And the third is ellipsis. Ellipsis, people are not really using it. It's only 5% from the students, where part of the sentence is omitted for efficiency, such as any questions. Instead of, are there any questions? They tend to like, any questions? To effectively the questions. And the last one that I highlight in here, it's the head and tail. It's 5%. It is the same like the ellipsis, where the speakers emphasize in clarifies their statement. For example, like, the answer, I think it's correct, adds reinforcement to the point being made. Like, the answer, I think it's correct, like that. That's the head, using the head and tail. So they're often to using the head and tails and ellipsis, but the most thing it is the deixis. All right, that's the findings in this article. And the next one, we're talking about the discussion from this article. There's not a lot of text from discussion from the article, but I highlight 2 points from this. The first one is spoken grammar reflects real-time interactions, which means the use of modal expression is significant because it is allows students to express opinions, uncertainty, or politeness in their discussions. For example, saying, I think this could work, makes the statement sound less assertive, encourage others to contribute because maybe we're as Asians and we're more polite, we're not direct but indirect, so they use the modal expressions before they try to express their opinion. Or maybe in the other hand, Fago language is beneficial or in maintaining the flow of communications, especially when students are unsure of specific words. And the second one is the features support politeness, vagueness, and speaker's spontaneity. By saying praise like about or something like that, they can continue speaking without disrupting the conversations. These features reflect the naturals and flexibility communication in real life interactions. And next, the other discussion that I found in here that is challenge in EFL settings. So the first one, the challenge is offer reliance on complete sentence. This feature, I mean, highlight the spontaneity of spoken grammar, especially in real-time conversation. For instance, Dixis helps the speaker orient listeners to specific time or place. But some people are too much over reliance of incomplete sentence. Like there is a lot of people who's using like and so too much. So, however, it is significant, but it's too much rely on the formal textbook. There are too much textbook, but maybe it's because they're not using English on daily life. So that's them relying too much on their textbooks. And then the second one is limited use of interactive spoken grammar, which probably we're the first mother tongue is Indonesian, so we are most used in Indonesian. When we are using English, they are limited the use of interactive spoken grammar, like the ellipses or head and tails. And they tend to use complete sentence instead of adopting the flexible of spoken grammar. So, but I found to address this, student needs more practice in using spoken grammar features in natural way, interactive context, and such a group discussion or debates. So to enhance our spoken grammar, it is by practicing alone every single day. We can use it like self-talk, like me right now. Just talk to yourself, or maybe you can talk to your friends by having a phone call, or maybe just talk in a discussion that's people using in English. That's the discussions from this article that I hope it is really relevant for now. And the last one, conclusions and suggestions. So I got some couple conclusions in here. The first one is modal expression is the dominating in here, such as ellipses, head, and tail are less used. I don't know why. Maybe the the sample is took from the master's program, so they are intend to use head and tail. Like they not really things about that, so it's different. But in my class, in the student from the Sarjana, it's they intend to use ellipses and head and tails. And then, so they are frequently used feature of spoken grammar like where model is figure language, while the least used were head and tail. This maybe indicates that students are more comfortable using basic and straightforward features of spoken grammar. To improve this, teacher, I guess, should explicitly or maybe lecture needs to teach spoken grammar features and create opportunities for students to practice them in the class. And suggestions, yeah, we need to teach the spoken grammar in the class. Like the activity like role playing, all group discussions, FGD, and presentations can help the students, I guess, to become more confident and effective communicators, better preparing them for the real world interactions. And use activities that mean use activities to encouraging diverse features use. And that's all the material that I can deliver to you. It is such a pleasure for me to learn about these spoken grammar features, of course. I hope we can practice these features, not only knew the theory, but we practice for the real life situation right now to our friends, to ourselves, to everyone who talk with English, so we can understand fluently about this spoken grammar. Thank you so much for your attention, nice attention, even though there's no people in here. And see you in the next class, see you in the next material. And wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bye bye.